The tear was loud. Not dramatic. Violent. Fabric split straight down the side of the white service dress, and the sound cut through the ballroom like a gunshot. 100 conversations died at once. Maya Reed froze, one hand tightening around the tray of champagne flutes, the other instinctively flying to her stomach. Someone gasped. Someone laughed. And the man standing inches from her, smiling, confident, perfectly tailored in a tuxedo worth more than her rent, leaned closer and whispered, "You really thought I wouldn't recognize you?" Cameras flashed. Phones rose. And just like that, the happiest day of Adrian King's life became the most humiliating moment of hers. "Hey, watch it," a guest snapped. But Adrian didn't step back. He didn't apologize. He looked down at the torn fabric, at the curve of Maya's 6-month pregnant belly now visible beneath the cheap lining, and his smile widened. "Oh," he said loudly, projecting just enough for the surrounding guests to hear. "I'm watching very carefully." Maya's chest tightened. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. The ballroom was blinding. Crystal chandeliers. White roses. A live string quartet that had stopped mid-note. 300 people stared at her. And none of them knew who she was. Except him. "Is there a problem here?" the wedding planner asked, rushing over. Adrian lifted his hands innocently. "No problem. Just a clumsy server." Clumsy. The word landed harder than the rip. Maya felt heat crawl up her neck. She could feel her heart pounding against her ribs, fast and panicked, the way it had the day he'd told her to get rid of the baby. 6 months ago. Same man. Same voice. Same cruelty. She swallowed. "I can fix it," she said quietly, already bending to set the tray down. Adrian blocked her path with his arm. "No need," he said. "Everyone can see it already." A ripple moved through the crowd. Murmurs. Whispers. A woman in pearls leaned toward her husband. "Is she pregnant?" Adrian heard it. But that was the point. Maya straightened slowly. Her legs trembled, but she forced them still. She could feel tears threatening, hot and humiliating, pressing against her eyes. "Don't cry. Not here. Not for him." "Sir," she said, her voice barely steady, "please let me through." That word amused him. "Sir," he repeated. "That's funny." He tilted his head, studying her face like she was a problem he'd already solved. "You always did like pretending we were strangers." Her stomach dropped. The wedding planner frowned. "Do you two know each other?" Adrian didn't answer her. He looked directly at Maya. "Tell them," he said softly. "Go on. Tell them how we met." Her fingers curled into fists. Behind her someone whispered, "This is awkward." Another voice. "Is this part of the entertainment?" Adrian chuckled. "Relax. It's just history." History. 3 years of marriage. 2 jobs she worked so he could code through the night. Rent she paid. Groceries she bought. Dreams she carried while he chased his. History was waking up at 4 a.m. to catch a bus while he slept. History was believing him when he said, "Just a little longer." History was standing in a bathroom holding a positive pregnancy test, shaking with fear and hope. History was his face hardening as he said, "That thing is not my problem." Maya lifted her chin. "I'm here to work," she said. "That's all." Adrian smiled wider. "Of course you are." He turned slightly so more guests could see her, see the tear, see the bump. "And you're doing a great job," he added. "Really committing to the role." A man near the front frowned. "Man, that's enough." Adrian glanced at him, unfazed. "Relax. It's my wedding. My wedding." The words echoed. Maya's ears rang. Her vision tunneled until all she could see was his face. Calm, cruel, in control. He had planned this. The job. Timing. The placement. She understood it now, and the realization hit harder than the humiliation. This wasn't an accident. This was revenge. "Adrian," the wedding planner said sharply. "We need to." "She's fine," he interrupted. "Aren't you, Maya?" Hearing her name spoken out loud here like this, Felt like being exposed all over again. The crowd leaned in. Phones zoomed closer. Somewhere in the back, a camera shutter clicked non-stop. Maya took a slow breath. Then another. Her baby kicked. The small movement grounded her in a way nothing else could. This isn't about you anymore, she told herself. It's about surviving this moment. She reached for the torn fabric, trying to pull it closed. Adrian caught her wrist. Hard. Gasps broke out around them. Don't, he said quietly. His voice low enough that only she could hear. Let them see. Her eyes snapped up to his. Something in her expression shifted. Not fear. Not shame. Something colder. Let go of me, she said. The firmness in her tone surprised even her. Adrian raised an eyebrow. Or what? For a second she didn't answer. Then she looked past him. Past the flowers, the lights, the guests, to the long aisle leading out of the ballroom. Freedom was right there. But so was rent due tomorrow. An empty fridge. An overdue electric bill. She couldn't walk away. Not tonight. She met his gaze again. Or I'll scream, she said. That earned a laugh from him. You always did like drama. He released her wrist, stepping back as if she were suddenly beneath him. There, he announced. Crisis averted. He turned to walk away, satisfied. That was when someone near the stage spoke up. Is that true? A woman asked. Do you two actually know each other? Adrian stopped. Slowly he turned back. Maya's breath caught. This was the moment. Disappear. That would be easier. But the baby kicked again, harder this time, like a reminder. Maya straightened her shoulders. Yes, she said. The single word cut through the room. Adrian's smile faltered. Just for a fraction of a second. We do. The murmurs exploded. What does she mean? Is she his? No way. Adrian recovered quickly. She's confused. I'm not, Maya said. Her voice was louder now. Steadier. She didn't know where the strength was coming from, only that it was there. We were married. Silence crashed down. You could hear the hum of the lights overhead. The bride, Amanda Pierce, radiant in white, turned sharply toward Adrian. What? Adrian's jaw tightened. This is not the time, he said. Maya looked at Amanda for the first time. Beautiful. Poised. Completely unaware. I'm sorry, Maya said to her. I didn't know either. Amanda stared between them, confusion turning into something sharper. Adrian, she said slowly. What is she talking about? He exhaled, irritated now. She's my ex. That's it. Like it erased everything else. And the baby? Someone asked. All eyes dropped to Maya's stomach. Adrian laughed again, but this time it sounded thin. That, he said. That's not my problem. The words hung there. Heavy. Holy. Unforgivable. Maya felt something snap inside her. Not loudly, not violently, but completely. She had come here to survive. She had come here to stay invisible. But standing in the center of that ballroom, torn dress, shaking hands, 100 lenses pointed at her. She realized something Adrian hadn't anticipated. He had given her a stage. And she was done being quiet. If you've ever watched someone get humiliated and felt your chest tighten because it could have been you, subscribe. This story doesn't turn away from the pain. And it doesn't end where you think it will. Maya took one step forward. Then another. Toward the stage. Toward the microphone. Maya's fingers brushed the edge of the stage before she realized she'd moved. The microphone stood upright in its holder, untouched, gleaming under the lights like it was waiting for her. The string quartet had gone silent. The only sound in the ballroom was the low murmur of voices, confusion folding into curiosity, curiosity edging toward hunger. Adrian noticed where she was going. His smile vanished. Maya, he warned, sharp enough to cut. Don't. She didn't look back. Her heart hammered so hard it made her ears ring, but her feet kept moving. Every step felt unreal, like she was walking through water. She could feel the weight of the crowd behind her, the way people leaned forward. instinctively aware that something was about to happen. This wasn't part of the schedule. This wasn't entertainment. Amanda stood frozen near the altar, bouquet trembling in her hands. Her face had gone pale, the glow of a bride replaced by a tight, controlled disbelief. Maya reached the microphone. For half a second she hesitated. This wasn't bravery. It was survival. She wrapped her fingers around the mic and lifted it from the stand. The feedback screeched briefly, sharp and jarring. 300 heads snapped up. Maya! Adrian snapped again, moving toward her now. Put that down. She turned to face him. Up close, she could see the tension in his jaw, the calculation behind his eyes. This wasn't panic yet. This was irritation, like a man whose plans were being inconvenienced. She raised the microphone. My name is Maya Reed, she said. Her voice echoed across the ballroom, amplified, unavoidable. I wasn't supposed to be here tonight. A ripple passed through the guests. I took a temporary job because I needed the money, she continued. I didn't know whose wedding it was until I walked in. That was a lie, technically. She'd known the moment she saw his name on the seating chart earlier that afternoon. But the truth of her desperation mattered more than the timeline. And I didn't come here to make a scene. Adrian laughed, forcing it. You're doing a great job of that anyway. She ignored him. 3 years ago I married Adrian King, she said. When he had nothing. That got people's attention. Phones rose higher. A man near the front whispered. Wait, King Financial. Maya swallowed. I worked 2 jobs while he built his company. Sometimes 3. Paid the rent. Paid the bills. I believed in him when no one else did. She paused, letting the words settle. And when I got pregnant, Adrian lunged for the stage. Enough, he hissed. This is over. The wedding planner stepped in front of him, hand up. Sir, please. That was new. Someone choosing to stop him. Maya met his eyes again. When I told him I was pregnant, she said louder now. He told me to get rid of it. A collective intake of breath swept the room. Amanda's lips parted. Adrian. He said I was trying to trap him, Maya continued. That a baby would ruin his image. His words, not mine. Adrian shook his head, smiling tightly. She's lying. Maya nodded once. That's what I thought you'd say. She reached into the pocket of her service apron and pulled out her phone. The movement sent a jolt through Adrian. Don't, he said under his breath. But she already had. I didn't plan to do this, she told the room. I came here to serve drinks. To go home with enough money to keep my lights on. Her voice cracked just slightly. But when someone tries to humiliate you in front of hundreds of people, sometimes you stop protecting their secrets. The room went dead quiet. Maya turned toward the AV booth at the back of the ballroom. Malik, she said. The wedding planner stiffened. Every eye followed Maya's gaze. Malik hesitated, then nodded once. The massive screens flanking the stage flickered. Adrian spun around. Turn that off. Too late. The first text message appeared, blown up larger than life. It was from Adrian. I'm not ready to be tied down with a kid. Handle it. A woman near the aisle covered her mouth. Another message followed. If you keep it, don't expect anything from me. The murmurs rose louder now. That can't be real. Is that his number? Jesus. Adrian stepped backward, shaking his head. This is fake. This is edited. The next screen showed a voicemail transcript. Then his voice filled the ballroom. Cold. I told you already. I won't be part of this. Don't call me again. Amanda staggered back like she'd been struck. That's your voice, she whispered. Adrian snapped his head toward her. Amanda, listen to me. Another message appeared. You're embarrassing yourself. Get rid of it or get out of my life. The word it hung there. Maya's throat tightened. She forced herself to keep going. I begged him not to abandon his child, she said. I begged him to talk to me like I mattered. She looked directly at Amanda. He told me he didn't want to be seen with a pregnant woman. Amanda's bouquet slipped from her hands, hitting the floor with a dull thud. The guests erupted now, voices overlapping, disbelief turning into outrage. What kind of man? At his own wedding? This is sick. Adrian lost his composure. You planned this, he shouted at Maya. You're trying to destroy me. She nodded slowly. No, she said. You did that yourself. Security guards hovered near the edges of the room, unsure who they were supposed to remove. Maya turned back to the crowd. I don't want your pity, she said. I don't want your applause. She paused, breathing through the tightness in her chest. I just want you to know who you're celebrating tonight. Adrian's face was flushed now, his confidence cracking. This is harassment, he barked. She's unstable. Malik spoke up, her voice shaking but firm. Everything shown came from his number. I verified it. That sealed it. The room shifted physically. People stepped away from Adrian, creating space around him like he was contagious. Amanda took a shaky step forward. Maya, she said softly. Maya turned. I didn't know, Amanda said. I swear to you I didn't. I believe you, Maya replied. That honesty seemed to break something in Amanda. Tears spilled over. Adrian reached for her. Amanda, don't. She pulled away. Don't touch me, she said. Her voice carried. You let me plan a future with you knowing this, she continued. Knowing you had a pregnant wife. Ex-wife, Maya almost corrected but didn't. Amanda looked at Maya's torn dress, her belly, her trembling hands. Then she did something no one expected. She reached up and unclasped the long, sheer bridal cape from her shoulders. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Amanda walked over and gently draped it around Maya, covering the tear, the stares, the vulnerability. Cover yourself, she whispered. You shouldn't be standing here like this. The moment hit like a wave. Phones zoomed in. Some people clapped, hesitant at first, then louder. Adrian stood alone at the altar, staring at the two women like he couldn't process what he was seeing. This is insane, he said weakly. You're throwing everything away. Amanda turned to him, eyes blazing through tears. No, she said. I'm walking away from a lie. She looked back at the guests. I'm sorry, she said. There will be no wedding tonight. The room erupted. Reporters pushed closer. Security moved in. Maya felt her knees threaten to give out as the adrenaline drained from her body. But before she could step back, Malik leaned in close and whispered, You did the right thing. Maya nodded, unable to speak. As Amanda walked past Adrian and down the aisle alone, the truth became unavoidable. This wasn't just a ruined wedding. It was the beginning of his fall. If you've ever been silenced, dismissed, or told your pain didn't matter, subscribe. Because what happens next is about justice. And it doesn't come quietly. Maya lowered the microphone. But the room was still listening. And outside the ballroom, cameras were already waiting. The ballroom doors slammed shut behind Maya, cutting off the noise like a blade. For the first time all night, she couldn't hear the crowd. Only her own breathing. Even. Her hands shook as she clutched the bridal cape tighter around herself, the fabric still warm from Amanda's shoulders. Her legs felt hollow, like they might fold at any second, but she forced herself forward, past the service corridor, past stunned staff members who watched her with wide eyes and said nothing. She didn't want sympathy. She wanted air. The hallway leading to the back exit was dim, quiet, smelling faintly of cleaning solution and old carpet. Halfway down, her body gave up. She leaned against the wall, sliding down until she was sitting on the floor, knees bent, head bowed. Only then did she let herself breathe. A hand hovered in front of her face. Maya! She looked up. Amanda stood there, no veil now, no bouquet, her makeup streaked, eyes red but determined. I didn't want you to be alone, Amanda said. Maya exhaled shakily. You should be dealing with all of that. Amanda gave a humorless laugh. I think all of that is done. She crouched down across from her. heels abandoned somewhere behind her. For a moment neither woman spoke. The silence wasn't awkward. It was heavy, shared. "I swear," Amanda said finally. "I didn't know." "I know," Maya replied. They held each other's gaze. Two women connected by the same man, and the same lie. Amanda swallowed. "He told me his last relationship ended years ago. Said you were unstable. Obsessed." Maya nodded. "That tracks." A bitter smile tugged at Amanda's mouth, then vanished. "He made it sound like you were trying to trap him," Amanda said. "Like you were reckless." Maya rested a hand over her stomach. Funny how the story always changes. Footsteps echoed from the ballroom end of the hall. Hurried, heavy. "Adrian." Maya stiffened. Before he could round the corner, two security guards appeared, blocking his path. "You need to leave the premises, sir," one said. "This is my wedding," Adrian snapped. The guard didn't flinch. Not anymore. The words landed harder than any insult. Maya watched from the floor as Adrian argued, his voice rising, hands gesturing wildly. He glanced down the hallway and saw her. Their eyes locked. For a second, something flickered in his expression. Not remorse, fear. Cameras. He straightened his jacket, composure snapping back into place. "You think you've won," he called out. "You have no idea what you just did." Maya didn't answer. Amanda stood instead. "You did this to yourself," she said. Adrian laughed sharply. "You'll regret this. Both of you." Security escorted him away. His voice fading into the distance, still arguing, still blaming. When the hallway finally went quiet again, Maya sagged back against the wall. Her phone buzzed. Once. Then again. Then non-stop. She didn't need to look to know what it was. Malik appeared moments later, breathless. "Reporters are everywhere. They already have his name." Maya closed her eyes. This was moving fast. Too fast. "I never wanted this to be public," she said. Malik nodded. "I know. But it is now. And you need to be careful." Another vibration. This time Maya glanced at the screen. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Yes. Maya Reed," a woman's voice said calmly. "This is Judge Simone Carter." Maya's heart stuttered. "I'm not calling in my official capacity," the woman continued. "But I was at the wedding." Maya sat up straighter. "You were?" "Yes," Judge Carter said. "And I want to make something very clear. You are not alone in this." Maya swallowed. "I don't understand." "I saw the messages," Judge Carter said. "I saw the humiliation. And I know exactly how men like Adrian King operate." Maya felt something loosen in her chest. "I can connect you with a family law attorney first thing in the morning," the judge continued. "Someone I trust." Tears burned Maya's eyes. Not from pain this time, but relief. "Thank you," she whispered. "Get home safely tonight," Judge Carter said. "Tomorrow we handle this the right way." The call ended. Maya stared at the screen for a long moment, stunned. Amanda touched her arm. "Was that who I think it was?" Maya nodded slowly. Amanda let out a breath. "Then he's done." Outside, the night air was cold and sharp. Flashing lights bounced off the hotel walls. Reporters clustered near the entrance, shouting questions at anyone who stepped out. Malik stepped in front of Maya protectively. "We'll take the back exit." They slipped out through a side door into a narrow alley, quiet except for the distant hum of traffic. Maya pulled her phone out again. Dozens of notifications. Missed calls. Social media alerts she didn't even recognize. A headline flashed across her screen. Texio exposed by pregnant ex-wife at his own wedding. Her stomach twisted. "I didn't want to ruin anyone's life," she said quietly. Amanda looked at her. "You didn't. You told the truth." A black sedan pulled up to the curb. "Get in," Malik said. "I'll have it take you home." Maya hesitated. "I don't know what happens now." Malik met her eyes. "Now." He doesn't control the story anymore. Inside the car, Maya sank into the seat, exhaustion crashing over her. The adrenaline was gone, replaced by a deep, aching fatigue. As the car pulled away, her phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Adrian. "You think you're a hero. You just made an enemy." Her fingers hovered over the screen. Then she locked the phone and set it face down. No reply. Not anymore. The city lights blurred past the window. For the first time in months, Maya wasn't thinking about bills or tomorrow, or how she'd survive. She was thinking about what came next. And somewhere behind them, inside a ballroom now empty of celebration, Adrian King was learning a lesson he'd never believed applied to him. You can't bury the truth forever. If you've ever been threatened into silence or told to let it go to keep the peace, subscribe. Because what happens next proves that speaking up has consequences. For everyone involved. Maya rested her hand over her stomach. "Okay," she whispered to her baby. "We're going to be just fine." Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. And the fight had only just begun. Maya didn't sleep. She lay on her narrow bed staring at the cracked ceiling, the glow of her phone lighting up the room every few seconds as notifications kept pouring in. Her apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic outside, but her mind was anything but calm. Her name was everywhere. She finally gave in and opened one alert. Breaking. CEO Adrian King exposed at wedding. Investors, deeply concerned. Another followed. Influencer Amanda Pierce calls OFF wedding after shocking revelations. Her stomach tightened. Not from fear this time, something closer to disbelief. This was real. She hadn't imagined the microphones, the gasps, the way the room shifted when the truth came out. The world hadn't shrugged and moved on like it always did when she was quietly suffering. This time it was watching. Her phone rang. She flinched before checking the screen. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello. Maya Reed?" A firm female voice asked. "Yes. This is Maria Morris. Judge Carter gave me your number." Maya sat up slowly. "The attorney?" "Yes. Family law. And before you ask, no, this isn't charity. I've already reviewed what's circulating." Maya swallowed. "Okay. I want you to listen carefully," Maria said. "Adrian King has a pattern. Financial intimidation. Emotional abandonment. Image protection at all costs." Maya closed her eyes. "And you," Maria continued, "have leverage he didn't expect." Leverage. The word felt foreign. "He hasn't acknowledged paternity," Maya said quietly. Maria gave a short laugh. "After tonight. He will." They set an appointment for the next morning. When the call ended, Maya sat there for a long time, phone pressed to her chest. She wasn't just reacting anymore. She was preparing. Across the city, Adrian King was unraveling. He paced the floor of his penthouse, tie discarded, jacket thrown over a chair. His phone buzzed non-stop. Board members, investors, PR executives. He ignored them all. Instead, he stared at a paused video on his tablet. Meh. On stage. Unflinching. He replayed it again. And again. "How did she do this?" he muttered. His assistant finally got through. "Adrian, the board wants an emergency call in 20 minutes. They can wait." "They won't." He slammed the tablet down. "She ambushed me." There was a pause on the line. "Sir, the messages are real." "That doesn't matter," he snapped. "Perception matters." Another alert flashed on his screen. Sponsor freezes partnership with King Financial Technologies. His jaw tightened. This wasn't supposed to happen. He had planned everything: control, optics, timing. Even the humiliation. Especially the humiliation. She was supposed to shrink. Disappear. Not stand there like she had nothing left to lose. He opened his messages and typed. "You need to fix this." 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. No response. His grip tightened around the phone. By morning, Maya's exhaustion had turned into focus. She dressed slowly, choosing the cleanest dress she owned, brushing her hair back into a neat low bun. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Her eyes looked stronger, older. The courthouse lobby buzzed with activity when she arrived. Lawyers moved briskly, voices low and serious. Maya felt out of place, until Maria Morris appeared beside her. Crisp suit, calm presence. "Come on," Maria said. "We don't rush justice." They sat in a private office overlooking the city. Maria slid a folder across the desk. "I'm filing for child support, back support, and medical expenses. Given his income, we're not asking, we're demanding." Maya stared at the numbers. "Is this realistic?" "It's conservative," Maria said. "And after the stunt he pulled. The court won't be sympathetic." Maya exhaled. Maria leaned forward. "One thing you need to understand. He will try to silence you." Maya's fingers tightened. "How?" "Money. That. He'll frame it as protection." Maya nodded. "I won't sign anything." Maria's lips curved slightly. "Good. Because he's already tried." She turned her laptop toward Maya. "Email. Settlement offer. $200,000 upon signing NDA." Maya's chest tightened. $200,000. Rent. Bills. Medical care. A cushion she'd never known. Maria watched her closely. "You don't have to decide now." Maya shook her head slowly. "I already know." Maria closed the laptop. "Then we proceed." Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. "Maya. Over here." She froze. Maria placed a steady hand on her back. "You don't have to say anything." Maya took a breath. Then she stepped forward. "I'm not here to destroy anyone," she said into the cluster of microphones. "I'm here to protect my child." Questions flew. "Did he offer you money?" "Yes." "Did you take it?" "No." "Why not?" Maya met the camera head-on. "Because silence is what got me here in the first place." That clip would play everywhere by noon. By evening, Amanda called. "I left the city," she said. "I needed space." "I understand." There was a pause. "I want to help." Maya blinked. "Help how?" Amanda exhaled. "I have a platform. And I don't want this to be just a scandal that fades." Maya considered that. "Neither do I." They talked for an hour. Not about Adrian. About women who disappear quietly. About shame. About starting something that didn't revolve around him at all. When the call ended, Maya felt something unfamiliar. Purpose. That night, another message came through. It was from Adrian. "Last chance. You're making this bigger than it needs to be." Maya stared at the screen. Then she typed. "You made it big when you chose cruelty over responsibility." She blocked his number. For good. Somewhere in the city, Adrian King was realizing the truth too late. This wasn't a scandal he could outspend. It was a reckoning. If you've ever been offered hush money for your pain, subscribe. Because the next part shows what happens when the truth refuses to be bought. Maya turned off her phone, rested her hands on her belly, and smiled faintly. For the first time, the future didn't scare her. It was wide open. By the end of the week, Maya couldn't walk down the street without someone recognizing her. It wasn't fame the way influencers talked about it. No glamour, no thrill. It was glances that lingered too long. Whispers that followed her into grocery aisles. Strangers who looked at her stomach first, her face second. Some smiled with sympathy. Others just stared. She learned quickly which ones were worse. At the small prenatal clinic on Jefferson Avenue, the receptionist hesitated when she saw Maya's name on the chart. "You're her," the woman said, lowering her voice. Maya forced a polite smile. "I'm just here for my appointment." The waiting room felt tighter than usual. A television in the corner played a muted news segment. Adrian's face filled the screen. Polished, controlled, framed by the words "who denies wrongdoing." Maya looked away. "Ms. Reed." The nurse called. Inside the exam room, the quiet was a relief. The rhythmic sound of her baby's heartbeat steadied her breathing. "You've been under a lot of stress," the doctor said gently. "That affects more than just you." "I know," Maya replied. "I'm trying." When she stepped back outside, her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a reporter. It was a blocked number breaking through. She answered before she could stop herself. "Name your price," Adrian said. No greeting. No apology. Her grip tightened on the phone. "I told you not to contact me." "This is the last time," he replied. 200,000 was generous. "I can do more." Maya stopped walking. "You ripped my dress in front of hundreds of people," she said quietly. "You called my child a mistake." "That's not how business works," he said. Something inside her went cold. "I'm not your business," she said and hung up. Her phone vibrated immediately, a message from Adrian. "You think this attention lasts forever?" "It doesn't." She didn't respond. Instead, she forwarded the message to Maria. Across town, the boardroom at King Financial Technologies felt nothing like a victory lap. Adrian sat at the head of the table, jaw clenched, as one executive after another spoke. "This is becoming a liability. Our partners are nervous. We need distance." "Distance? From him?" Adrian leaned forward. "You don't abandon your CEO because of a personal matter." One man adjusted his glasses. "This stopped being personal when it went public." Adrian scanned their faces, realizing something too late. They weren't angry. They were calculating. "We're recommending you step back temporarily," the board chair said. "For the company." The room spun. "Temporarily," Adrian repeated. The chair met his gaze. "For now." That evening, Maya sat at her kitchen table with Teresa, her best friend, staring at a notebook between them. "What if we actually do it?" Teresa said. "Do what?" "Turn this into something real," Teresa replied. "Not interviews. Not headlines. Help." Maya tapped her pen against the paper. "I don't even know where to start." Teresa smiled. "I do." They began writing. Resources. Legal aid. Job listings. Emergency housing. A name circled 3 times. Rising mothers. Maya stared at it. "It sounds big." Teresa shrugged. "So is the problem." The next morning, Maya stood in front of a camera again, but this time it wasn't a swarm. Just one journalist. "Why keep speaking?" the reporter asked. "Wouldn't it be easier to take the money and disappear?" Maya didn't hesitate. "Easier isn't the same as right," she said. "And disappearing is exactly what men like him count on." The clip went viral. Again. Adrian watched it alone in his penthouse. The city spread out beneath him like a kingdom he was losing. His assistant entered carefully. "Sir, another sponsor pulled out." He didn't respond. They cited values misalignment. Adrian laughed. A short, hollow sound. "Values," he muttered. He picked up his phone and opened social media. The comments scrolled endlessly. "Protect that woman." "Men like him never think consequences apply." "Believe women." He threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. At night, Maya's apartment felt different now. Still small. Still worn. But no longer silent. Messages came in daily. From women across the country. "This happened to me. I thought I was alone. Thank you for speaking." Maya read them slowly, carefully. Each one felt like a hand reaching out in the dark. She couldn't answer them all. But she tried. Her phone rang immediately after. It was Maria. "We need to talk," she said. "Now." In Maria's office, the atmosphere was different. Alert, sharp. "Adrian's legal team is changing tactics," Maria said. "They're going aggressive." Maya's chest tightened. "How?" "They're questioning your stability," Maria continued. "Painting you as opportunistic." Maya laughed once, bitterly. "Of course they are." Maria slid a document across the desk. "They're also trying to delay child support until after the birth." Maya's hands curled into fists. "He's doing this to punish me." "Yes," Maria said calmly. Which is why we won't let him. She leaned forward. But I need you ready. This won't be clean. Maya nodded slowly. I'm not scared of him anymore, she said. I'm tired of him. Maria smiled. That's when men like him lose. That night, Maya stood by her window, looking out at the city lights. Her phone buzzed one last time. A news alert. King Financial Board announces CEO steps back amid controversy. She read it twice. Then a third time. She pressed a hand to her belly. Did you hear that? She whispered. He's slipping. The baby kicked. Hard. She smiled. Somewhere across the city, Adrian King was realizing what real loss felt like. Not money, not reputation, but control. And control, once gone, never comes back the same. If you've ever watched someone who hurt you finally lose their grip, subscribe. Because the next part proves that power doesn't disappear quietly. It fights back. Maya turned off the light and lay down, knowing one thing for sure. This wasn't over. But for the first time, she was ready for whatever came next. The courthouse smelled like disinfectant and polished wood, but Maya didn't notice. She barely registered the hushed murmurs of people moving through the hallways, the occasional shuffle of papers, the echo of distant gavel strikes. All she could feel was the tight coil of anticipation in her chest. Today was the first official hearing for child support. After the wedding, after the viral clips, after Adrian King's public humiliation, it was time to make it real in front of the law. Maria Morris walked beside her, brisk and confident, holding a thick file stuffed with documents, screenshots, and messages. You ready? Maria asked. Maya nodded, though her stomach twisted. As ready as I'll ever be. They entered the courtroom. The room was smaller than she expected, but the weight of it was enormous. At the far end, Adrian sat, perfectly composed, or trying to be, with his own legal team surrounding him like armor. His tie was straight, his suit immaculate, but his eyes flicked toward Maya every few seconds, calculating, cold. The judge called the session to order. Judge Simone Carter presided, calm and authoritative, her eyes sharp and unwavering. Ms. Reed, the judge began, we are here today regarding your petition for child support and back support from Mr. Adrian King. How do you wish to proceed? Maya took a deep breath. Her hands gripped the edges of the table. She could feel her baby kick lightly, as if giving her encouragement. I want the court to recognize the financial and emotional support my child and I are entitled to, she said. Her voice trembled slightly at first, then steadied. Mr. King abandoned me during my pregnancy, refused to provide any assistance, and publicly humiliated me at his own wedding. I am asking for fair support, current and retroactive. Her words were simple, but every syllable carried the weight of months of fear, humiliation, and determination. Adrian's lawyer rose immediately. Your Honor, this is an opportunistic claim. Mr. King has maintained an extensive career and provided support to other parties in the past. These allegations are exaggerated and designed to damage his reputation. Maya felt a flash of anger, but she didn't flinch. Maria leaned in, whispering, Stay calm. Let the evidence do the talking. Judge Carter nodded at Maria. Proceed. Maria stood, flipping open her laptop. Your Honor, we have documented text messages, voicemail transcripts, and witness statements proving that Mr. King refused to acknowledge responsibility and actively humiliated Ms. Reed during her pregnancy. We are seeking $4,500 monthly support, plus $20,000 in back support. A murmur ran through the small gallery. Adrian's jaw tightened. He wasn't used to being questioned in public, and certainly not in front of someone like Maya. Maria continued. Furthermore, we have verified expenses. $1,200 rent, $180 overdue electric bill, $340 medical bills, $85 phone bill, and other necessary costs related to the pregnancy. Ms. Reed has made every effort to remain financially stable despite these challenges, and we request that the court recognize the ongoing responsibility of Mr. King in full. The judge listened intently, nodding occasionally. Adrian's lawyer jumped in. Your Honor, while the court can consider back support, the defendant contends that Ms. Reed voluntarily chose temporary employment and made no immediate attempt to contact Mr. King for assistance during pregnancy. This should be considered when determining any support obligation. Maya's fingers clenched around the edge of the table. She remembered nights skipping meals to pay the bills. Nights waiting for calls that never came. Nights holding her stomach and crying silently. Maria shot him a sharp look. Your Honor, evidence clearly shows Mr. King's refusal to engage in any support arrangement while Ms. Reed was pregnant. Voluntary employment was undertaken only to survive, not to replace responsibility that legally belongs to Mr. King. Judge Carter leaned forward. I've reviewed all documentation prior to this hearing, and the court is concerned with the welfare of the child. Mr. King's past conduct, public and documented, will be considered. Adrian shifted in his seat. His perfectly maintained mask of control flickered for a brief moment. The courtroom was tense. Maya felt a bead of sweat roll down her temple. She closed her eyes for a moment, grounding herself. Her baby moved again, nudging her palm. Ms. Reed, Judge Carter said, is there anything further you wish to add? Maya took a deep breath. Yes, Your Honor. I want to say, I am not here for revenge. I am here for my child, for fairness, for safety, and to make sure no other child or mother is abandoned and silenced. That's why I've been public about my experience, and I will continue to speak out. I will not be intimidated into silence. Her words echoed in the room. Murmurs from observers rippled again. Even Adrian's lawyers exchanged uneasy glances. The judge tapped her gavel lightly. Noted. This court values truth and the well-being of children above reputation or financial leverage. I will take all evidence under advisement and issue a ruling shortly. This hearing is adjourned. Maya exhaled. The tension that had gripped her shoulders for weeks loosened slightly. She had survived the confrontation. She had survived the courtroom. And for the first time in months, she felt the weight of fear lifting, replaced by purpose. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited, cameras poised. One shouted, Ms. Reed, what do you say to Adrian King now? Maya straightened her back, hands resting over her belly. I say, responsibility cannot be ignored. And neither can the truth. Amanda stepped forward from the crowd, a reassuring hand on Maya's shoulder. I've got your back, she said softly. The reporter's questions blurred together as Maya walked away, leaving the courthouse steps. Her phone buzzed incessantly. Messages, emails, notifications, but she ignored them for now. She had work to do. Maria caught up beside her. He's furious, Maria said with a faint smirk. And that means we're doing something right. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Good. The city around her moved on, unaware of the seismic shift happening in this small courtroom. But Maya knew. The momentum was now on her side. Somewhere, far above in a gleaming office, Adrian King sat, tapping his pen against a desk, fury simmering beneath the surface. His empire of image and control was cracking, and he had no idea how to stop it. Maya looked down at her hands, at the small life growing inside her, and felt a fire ignite that no one, no man, no board, no media frenzy, could extinguish. If you've ever been dismissed, abandoned, or silenced in your own life, subscribe. Because the next chapter proves that courage and persistence can rewrite the story entirely. Maya stepped into the waiting car, shoulders squared, heart steady. The fight for her child and for justice was only beginning. Maya sat at her small kitchen table, laptop open, a notebook full of scribbled ideas in front of her. The glow from her desk lamp reflected in her eyes, making them look sharper than usual. She was no longer just a survivor. She was plotting something bigger, something lasting. Teresa leaned over her shoulder, pointing at the page. We need a name that hits. Something strong. Something that says, we exist and we won't be silenced. Maya tapped her pen against the notebook. Rising Mothers, she said finally. It's about strength, growth, hope. And it's for anyone who's been abandoned, ignored, or humiliated while pregnant. Teresa's grin widened. Perfect. And the mission? To provide legal support, job placement, housing assistance, and emotional support for women who can't rely on anyone else, Maya said, her voice low but resolute. We make sure no one has to suffer in silence the way I did. Teresa nodded. Then we start today. By the next morning, Maya had set up a basic website, a social media presence, and a hotline number. She posted a heartfelt video recounting her story, not just the wedding humiliation, but the months of abandonment, fear, and financial struggle. She spoke directly to the camera, voice steady, eyes unwavering. I'm Maya Reed, she said. I was abandoned while pregnant, humiliated in public, and silenced for too long. Rising Mothers exists so that no woman has to go through this alone. We provide resources, legal advice, and a community that listens and fights with you. Within hours, messages flooded in. Women from across the country shared stories of similar experiences. Some thanked her. Others simply typed one word, me. Maya read each message carefully, noting their needs, the patterns of injustice, the overwhelming sense of isolation these women endured. She realized she wasn't just creating a support network. She was giving a voice to thousands who had been silenced. Meanwhile, Adrian King's world was unraveling faster than he could comprehend. He sat in his office, hands gripping the edge of his polished desk, scrolling through headlines. CEO exposed by pregnant ex-wife. King Financial's image crisis deepens. Rising Mothers launches campaign to support abandoned women. The last headline hit him like a punch to the gut. Rising Mothers. He hadn't expected her to act so publicly, so strategically. His assistant cleared her throat nervously. Sir, investors are requesting an emergency meeting. They're concerned about public perception and ongoing litigation. Adrian slammed his fist on the desk. Public perception isn't reality. She's just a temporary distraction. She's not just a distraction anymore, the assistant said carefully. She's influencing public opinion. And sponsors are reconsidering support. Adrian's jaw tightened. Then we control the narrative. He drafted another message, another demand for silence. But he knew it was too late. The world had already seen her courage. And every new post, every new message from Rising Mothers, undermined him further. Back at Maya's apartment, Teresa and Maya worked late into the night. Flyers were designed, social media campaigns planned, legal contacts reached out to. This is going to blow up, Teresa said. In a good way. Maya nodded. It has to. People need to know this isn't just a story. It's a movement. Her phone buzzed. A new email notification. She opened it. It was from a well-known women's magazine. Subject line. Feature request. Maya Reed, Rising Mothers. Her chest tightened. Not with fear. Excitement. Validation. Momentum. I think this is it, she said. This is just the beginning, Teresa said. The next day, Maya met Amanda at a quiet cafe downtown. Amanda slid into the booth across from her, carrying a tablet showing the first major feature draft about Rising Mothers. I want to help more than just supporting you, Amanda said. My platform reaches millions. We can amplify this. Change laws, policies, public opinion, whatever it takes. Maya leaned back, considering her words. You know Adrian will fight this. He'll try to smear us, intimidate us, maybe even sue. Amanda smiled. Let him. Public opinion is on our side. You've already won hearts with your courage. And the truth. It always wins. Maya glanced down at her stomach, then back at Amanda. We're doing this for them. For every woman who has no one. Amanda reached over and squeezed Maya's hand. Then let's make it unstoppable. That evening the news cycle turned again. Clips of Maya speaking at a women's advocacy panel appeared on multiple networks. Her story of survival, courage, and action spread like wildfire. Meanwhile, Adrian King sat in his darkened office, staring at a spreadsheet showing cancelled partnerships, investor withdrawals, and public backlash. His attempts to spin the story to quiet the narrative had failed completely. He slammed his laptop shut. For the first time in his life, he felt powerless. Maya, however, felt the opposite. As she sat back on her couch, watching the first wave of donations, messages, and applications for help roll in for rising mothers, she allowed herself a small smile. "This is bigger than me," she whispered. "It's bigger than Adrian. And it's just getting started." The baby kicked sharp and insistent. Maya's fingers pressed to her belly. "Yeah," she said softly. "We're going to make a difference. One woman at a time." The stage was set. Rising Mothers had launched. Adrian's empire was beginning to crumble. And Maya Reed had discovered a power she never knew she had. The power to turn humiliation into revolution. The press conference room smelled of fresh coffee and anticipation. Cameras lined every wall, flashes going off at random intervals as journalists shuffled papers and adjusted microphones. Maya stood at the podium, hands steady, heart racing, not from fear but from adrenaline. This was more than a statement. It was a declaration. Behind her, Teresa and Amanda flanked her, silent but present, a united front. Rising Mothers had grown from a fledgling idea to a tangible movement. Flyers, websites, hotline numbers, they were all live now, reaching women across the country. Maya cleared her throat. "Good morning. My name is Maya Reed. 3 months ago, I was publicly humiliated while 6 months pregnant by my ex-husband Adrian King at his own wedding. Tonight, I'm here to ensure that no woman faces abandonment, humiliation, or financial instability alone." Flashes erupted. Questions came fast. "Ms. Reed, are you seeking more legal action against Mr. King?" "Yes," she said firmly. "Child support is just the beginning. His actions were deliberate and harmful. Rising Mothers will support women in holding men accountable, financially, legally, and socially." "Do you fear retaliation from Mr. King?" Maya paused. Question hit hard. A week ago she would have hesitated. But now she understood something critical. Fear had no place here. "I've learned that fear can silence you, or it can make you unstoppable," she said. "I choose unstoppable." The room erupted with murmurs, some nodding, some whispering into phones. A headline had already begun trending online. "Pregnant ex-wife takes a stand. Rising Mothers launches nationwide." Across town, Adrian King's office was chaos. Investors were on conference calls, demanding immediate responses. PR consultants pitched rapid-fire strategies. He slammed a fist against the mahogany desk, frustration radiating from every pore. "Enough," he barked. "She's just one woman." "Sir," his PR director said cautiously, "one woman with a national platform, media coverage, and social momentum is not insignificant. The public narrative is against you." Adrian's jaw twitched. "Then we control the narrative." He typed furiously into his laptop, drafting another aggressive press release, but every sentence sounded hollow, defensive, reactive. The truth had escaped his control, and now the court of public opinion had taken the lead. Back at Maya's apartment, the team gathered to plan the next steps. Volunteers, social workers, and lawyers connected through Rising Mothers were on video calls. Maya watched as women shared stories. Abandoned pregnancies, eviction notices, harassment at work, medical bills piling up. Teresa leaned back in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. "We're getting requests from everywhere. California, Texas, New York. We can't keep up." Maya nodded, determination burning in her eyes. "Then we expand. We bring on more volunteers, more lawyers, more advocates. We make it impossible for men like Adrian to ignore." Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello. Ms. Reed," a deep male voice said, smooth but tense. "This is Adrian King." Maya sat forward. "What do you want?" "Enough with this circus. Withdraw your claims. Accept the settlement. $200,000. That's final." You threatened me before, she said calmly. Now you're begging. It doesn't matter. I won't be silenced. You'll regret this, he spat. This is bigger than you think. I'm already bigger than fear, she replied. She hung up. Teresa's eyes widened. He just called. Maya nodded. We're not done yet. But that call confirms he's scared. The next day, the courthouse buzzed with energy. Adrian's lawyers attempted to delay proceedings, claiming procedural errors and questioning Maya's credibility. But Judge Carter, impartial yet firm, overruled their motions, insisting the case move forward. When Maya walked in, reporters flooded the lobby, cameras pointing at her every move. She felt a flicker of nerves, but it was replaced by resolve. Every flash reminded her. The world was watching, and she wasn't hiding anymore. Inside, Adrian sat, tense, adjusting his cufflinks. His veneer of control was cracking. Maria Morris rose confidently. Your Honor, we have comprehensive documentation showing Mr. King's refusal to provide support and his public humiliation of Ms. Reed. The evidence is clear. The courtroom murmured. Adrian's lawyer attempted another objection, but the judge cut him off sharply. Enough, Judge Carter said. Proceed with the facts. Maya watched Adrian closely. He was sweating slightly, his movements jittery. Every word Maria presented chipped away at the image he had so meticulously crafted. When the hearing adjourned for the day, the press swarmed Maya again. Are you afraid of retaliation? A reporter asked. She smiled. I've learned fear has no place when you're fighting for justice. And for every woman abandoned like I was, fear is the enemy we refuse to bow to. That night, Maya and Amanda reviewed messages from women across the country. Hundreds of stories flooded in, each one a testament to resilience. Amanda sighed. You've sparked something huge. And he can't stop it. Maya pressed a hand to her belly. It's bigger than both of us now. It's about all of them. And no amount of money or intimidation will silence it. Outside, Adrian King sat in his dark penthouse, staring at the city lights. His empire was teetering, sponsors pulling back, investors nervous, and public sentiment turning sharply against him. He had tried to humiliate, intimidate, and control, and for the first time it hadn't worked. Somewhere deep down he understood. The real power wasn't money, titles, or influence. The real power belonged to those who refused to be silenced. Maya closed her laptop, took a deep breath and whispered, "We're just getting started." The morning air was crisp, almost biting, as Maya stepped out of the car and onto the courthouse steps. Reporters swarmed like a tide, microphones and cameras aimed at her every move. For a moment she paused, taking it all in, not with fear, but with the calm certainty of someone who had survived far worse. Today was the final pre-trial hearing before the court ruled on her child support and back support case. It was the last legal obstacle standing between her and the security she deserved for her baby, and the moment where Adrian King would realize that his empire of control was crumbling. Amanda and Teresa flanked her, silent anchors in the storm. "You ready?" Amanda asked. "I've never been more ready," Maya replied, adjusting her blazer. Inside the courtroom, tension hummed like electricity. Adrian sat at the defense table, immaculately dressed, his expression a practiced mask of composure. But every so often his jaw twitched. His fingers drummed nervously on the polished wood of the table. He was outmaneuvered at every turn, publicly exposed, and unable to silence the growing movement behind Maya. Maria Morris rose first, confidence radiating from her as she addressed the court. "Your Honor, we've provided exhaustive evidence of Mr. King's refusal to support Ms. Reed during her pregnancy, including documented financial neglect, threats, and public humiliation. We are requesting the court grant full child support, retroactive payments, and legal fees. The welfare of the child must take priority." Adrian's lawyer immediately countered. "Your Honor, the defendant contests the claims of alleged harassment and humiliation. Additionally, The child support amount requested is excessive compared to standard guidelines. Maya's eyes didn't leave the courtroom bench. She felt a nudge from her baby, a tiny reminder of what she was fighting for. Judge Carter's gavel struck lightly. I have reviewed all documentation and evidence. The court is concerned with both the welfare of the child and the pattern of neglect demonstrated by Mr. King. This matter will proceed swiftly to ensure proper resolution. After hours of testimony and cross-examination, it was over. The judge announced a recess before the final ruling. Outside the courtroom, reporters pressed forward. Cameras flashed. Microphones were thrust in her face. Ms. Reed, how do you feel? I feel like justice is finally being recognized, she said calmly. This is about my child, and about all women who have been abandoned and silenced. Amanda hugged her tightly. You've turned this nightmare into a movement. People are listening. Maya nodded, her stomach tightening at the thought of everything still ahead, but also at the sense of purpose she had found. Meanwhile, Adrian sat in a corner office, rage simmering beneath a veneer of composure. Sponsors were leaving, board members questioning his leadership, and his public image was in tatters. Desperate, he devised one last plan. Smear campaign. Secretly leak manipulated recordings of Maya, distort her statements, create doubt in the public eye. He sent the instructions to his PR team with a cold, calculated precision. But he underestimated one thing: Maya's growing army. Within hours, social media erupted. Not with scandal, but with support for Maya. Rising Mothers volunteers monitored every channel, sharing factual accounts, verified messages, and her original statements. Every attempt by Adrian to deflect attention back to her was drowned out by thousands of real voices sharing their experiences, amplifying Maya's narrative. Adrian's desperate attempt backfired spectacularly. His credibility took another blow as journalists exposed the manipulation, framing him not as a victim but as a man trying to silence the very women he had abandoned. Late afternoon, Maya returned home, exhausted but unbroken. She slumped into the couch, letting her hands rest on her belly. The baby kicked. She smiled. Every kick was a tiny pulse of hope, a reminder of why she had fought, why she had persevered. Her phone buzzed incessantly. Messages from reporters, supporters, women seeking help, all converging on her small apartment like a tidal wave of energy. Teresa leaned against the doorway, smiling. They're calling you a hero. Maya shook her head. No, I'm just someone who refused to be silenced. The real heroes are all the women out there who've survived worse than I ever did. Amanda nodded. And now they have a movement. That evening the ruling came. Judge Carter's office issued the court order. $4,500 per month in child support. $20,000 retroactive support. Legal fees fully covered. Public acknowledgement of Adrian King's failure to provide support and accountability for his actions. Maya read the document aloud to Teresa and Amanda, tears welling. Relief, yes, but also vindication. She had survived the humiliation, the threats, and the public spectacle. And she had emerged not just intact, but empowered. Outside, city lights glimmered as the headlines rolled in. Pregnant ex-wife wins against CEO. Rising mothers gains momentum. Adrian King loses control. Public opinion turns. From humiliation to leadership, Maya Reed inspires a movement. For the first time in months, Maya allowed herself to exhale fully. She felt the weight of fear and anxiety lift, replaced by purpose and determination. She pressed her hands to her belly. We did it. And this is only the beginning. Somewhere across the city, Adrian King sat alone in his penthouse, staring at the headlines, realizing the truth too late. The power he believed he held was gone. Control wasn't in wealth, titles, or intimidation. It was in courage, persistence, and refusing to be silenced. Maya turned off her phone, leaned back, and smiled faintly. She wasn't just fighting for her child anymore. She was fighting for every woman who had ever been told her voice didn't matter. Months had passed since the wedding that had changed Maya Reed's life forever. The city streets felt different now, less like a cage of judgment and whispers, more like a canvas on which she could build something lasting. Rising Mothers had grown from a small initiative into a nationwide network. Offices in 3 major cities, dozens of volunteers, legal partnerships, and thousands of women reached. Maya's name was no longer associated with humiliation, but with courage, advocacy, and empowerment. She walked through the headquarters of Rising Mothers, her hands resting gently on her belly, now only months along. The space was vibrant. Phones ringing, meetings happening, volunteers collaborating. Posters of motivational quotes lined the walls. One read, "Your voice is your power. Never let anyone silence it." Teresa approached, carrying a stack of folders. "We just got confirmation from the state legislature. They're considering a bill inspired by Rising Mothers, mandating stronger protections and support for abandoned pregnant women." Maya stopped, blinking. "Seriously?" Teresa nodded. "You did this, Maya. You turned your pain into systemic change." Amanda appeared from a meeting room, tablet in hand. "And the media coverage. It's non-stop. Maya Reed is being recognized for advocacy, philanthropy, and legal reform work." Maya pressed a hand to her heart. "I never imagined it could go this far." Meanwhile, Adrian King's world had fully collapsed. Sponsors had severed ties, investors pulled out, board members resigned. The company he had built on charisma and control was now a shadow of itself. Legal battles, public condemnation, and media scrutiny had left him isolated. His reputation irreparably damaged. A headline flashed across Maya's phone. "Former CEO Adrian King resigns amid public backlash and financial collapse." Maya didn't feel triumph or glee. Only the quiet satisfaction that truth and accountability had prevailed. Later that week, Maya spoke at a Rising Mothers event, standing on a modest stage surrounded by hundreds of women, many of whom had stories strikingly similar to hers. She spoke without notes, her voice strong, eyes scanning the crowd. "Every woman here has faced abandonment, betrayal, or fear. And I know that fear, it tried to silence me too. But together we turn fear into action. Together we rise." The audience erupted in applause. Tears glimmered on many faces, but the energy was fierce, unyielding, hopeful. Amanda watched from the side, beaming. "You've done something incredible," she whispered. Maya smiled. "No, we've done something incredible. This isn't just my story anymore. It belongs to all of us." That evening at home, Maya sat with Teresa and Amanda, planning the next stage. Workshops, community programs, and an expansion into rural areas where support was scarce. "I can't believe this started with that wedding," Teresa said softly. Maya nodded, remembering the humiliation, the tears, the fear, the public spectacle. But that memory was no longer painful. It was fuel. "Everything I went through, it led to this. And this baby," she said, placing her hands over her belly, "will grow up in a world where courage and truth are stronger than cruelty and fear." Her phone buzzed. It was an email from Maria Morris. "Court records updated. Adrian has officially lost parental rights to make decisions without oversight. Child support guaranteed. And he's blocked from contacting you or the child without legal approval." Maya exhaled deeply, a weight lifting. For the first time in over a year, she felt entirely free. The baby kicked again, stronger this time. Maya smiled down. "We did it," she whispered. Across the country, Rising Mothers was thriving. Women who had once felt abandoned and silenced now had a platform, a community, legal aid, and hope. Media outlets sought interviews. Advocates cited Maya's work. Laws were changing. And somewhere, far away, Adrian King was left to reckon with a life stripped of control, influence, and public respect. His downfall was complete, but the world had already moved on, guided by Maya's courage. The camera would later catch Maya standing in front of the headquarters' large windows, city lights twinkling behind her, hands resting on her belly, eyes firm and resolute. "Your pain can be your power," she said softly but clearly. "Your voice can be unstoppable. And the truth, always wins. Maya Reed's journey proves that even in the face of betrayal, humiliation, and abandonment, strength and courage can transform pain into purpose. Her story isn't just about one woman. It's about every person who's been silenced, ignored, or dismissed. Rising above fear, speaking the truth, and taking action can create change not only in your own life but in the lives of countless others. If you've ever faced betrayal, injustice, or abandonment, remember, your voice matters. Don't stay silent. Share your story, stand tall, and rise above. Subscribe now to follow Maya's journey and discover more stories of resilience, empowerment, and triumph. Together we can turn struggle into strength.